Hi, I just want to doing a quick video on what is one of this week's major challenges. Today is Wednesday evening and it is just coming up to 6 o'clock. We lost our water supply late Monday night following a sudden thaw. As everything warmed up on Sunday after having freezing temperatures for about 10 days, and that contributed to lots of major pipe bursts to the main water supply all over the area. There's thousands of households without water, and there's hundreds and hundreds of leaks, and they're having trouble finding the leaks and getting them repaired. So of course it means we've had no water. We are on mains water. We haven't got a borehole or anything here. We're too high up the mountain for that, and the expense just wouldn't justify it. So yeah, so this is one of the most important things you can ever prep for, and that is water. You just can't survive without it. Last week the water challenge was keeping the livestock going with enough water after all the tanks and pipes and everything froze, and we were having to transport water up to them several times a day. This week we don't have any, so we've got plenty of water for the livestock because we have the big IBC tanks which are all full of rainwater, so we have about 10,000 litres there. But so the livestock, they're fine. They're not the issue. The issue, of course, is here in the house. And one of the issues, of course, is flushing toilets. And then, of course, you need drinking water. And then secondary to that, of course, it's just things like washing up, washing, and all them sorts of things. So the water board finally dropped off drinking water down in the village for us all today, and so I did collect a case of water for me, and I collected some for our neighbours as well, and the elderly lady next door. But I did have cases of water here anyway, drinking water, and if need be, we have got the rainwater. We would just need to filter it, boil it up or whatever to make it drinkable. Keeping the toilet flushed, of course, it means it's only being flushed if it's absolutely necessary. So what we're doing, we've got containers of rainwater we're taking upstairs. We've taken the lid off the toilet system, and we just, when we flush, we then refill the system. So it's only being flushed a couple of times a day. What's the other thing? And of course, hot water. Our Rayburn heats all our water, so we can't. I'm not happy about letting the hot water tank run dry. So we've got a bit of hot water there. But what I've been doing is I have got my big water bath canner sitting on the stove filled with water, and so I'm keeping that heated up, and that is the hot water that we're using for washing up dishes and washing, etc. And yeah, I've got a hat on, and the reason being my hair is absolutely minging, and later on this evening I am going to use some of that hot water to get my hair washed, and then I shall sit in front of the fire and let it dry. So yeah, let me just show you some of the things that we're doing to overcome this. Right, sitting on the stove is my big pan of water, and so that just heats up all day, and I keep it topped up, and that's just rainwater I'm putting in there. That's not drinking water. So that is for us washing our hands, washing dishes, etc. We have got these containers that are filled with rainwater. So we've got the cold water there. We have got, these are some of our own bottles of water. I've still got several cases of water there. We've probably got enough drinking water in bottles to see us through a good few weeks. I have got the tap. It is actually turned on. So as you can see, that would be from the hot tank. But yeah, I've got the cold turned on so that if the water does start to come through, all the air will come out of the pipes and it's not going to splutter and cough as much. And then, of course, upstairs in the toilet, you know, we've got some of these containers of water, and that's what's used to top the cistern up. We go through drinking water. We'll go through about 2 of these a day between us. So that is roughly 3 litres of drinking water a day. And that's for sort of 2 adults. So, and that water is only just used for drinking. Now, yeah, so we've been several days now without water, but yeah, we're managing fine. It is harder, you know, we're having to haul a lot of water around and carry it upstairs or whatever. Baby wipes, having to use baby wipes to keep clean ourselves. Can't wash any clothes, of course, because we haven't got the water for it. There's lots of people in the area who haven't got the same resources as us, and when I've been reading on some of the local groups, lots of people are getting really desperate for water because the water board has not been able to keep up with the demand of supplying bottled water. In fact, their warehouses run dry now. They've run out of bottled water. There have been the police out there managing the traffic, getting to the water distribution centres. They only set up 2 distribution centres in the whole of West Wales here, where we're without water, and our nearest distribution centre was 18 miles away. There's no bottled water in the shops. All the shops have run out, and there has been people taking more than their allocation, so they're taking lots and lots of cases of water and filling up their vehicles with cases of water. The water distribution centres have been running out of water within 15-20 minutes. There's no bottled water left. I understand the water board has now put some water bowsers out there, but the water all has to be boiled, and of course with our energy prices as they are, that's very difficult for people to front that cost of trying to boil up water for drinking. So of course we're not in that situation. We are slightly better prepared here. I've been helping out a friend with some hot water because she just doesn't have the fuel to, you know, heat water up. So she comes up and collects hot water from us. And it hasn't surprised me really. You know, there's been lots of bitching and arguing on groups, you know, oh, they've taken more than they should and we haven't got any and all of this. I did read about somebody who collected 10 cases of water. That was the big bottles. The delivery we've just had in the village has just been little bottles of water. I think it's 500 mils, you know, just them little ones. And the other day, somebody took 10 cases of water from one of the distribution centres, and she then posted, you know, well, 10 cases aren't going to go very far. I used 3 just on flushing the toilets. Complete waste of drinking water, of course. And some people have disconnected their downpipes and they're trying to fill buckets, etc. So they've got water for flushing toilets. So, yeah, things are challenging, to say the least. So yes, water is your number one thing you have to prep for. Do not depend on the services providing for you. Now we're on the priority list here, and so is the elderly lady next door, and the water board has not brought any water out to any of us. It is a case of going down to the village now, which that arrived today. I'll pop you up a picture. so the water board dropped this pallet of water off of all these little bottles, and that's been our first drop off in our area. But even though that, for me, that is still 3 miles down the mountain to get to, which isn't so bad. I mean, they didn't let any of us know that the water was there, and the people down in the village didn't let everybody know or even think about elderly people or anything. It was a case of look after number one. And, there's been a lot of people who have been unwell or have got babies or they haven't got transport and they've not been able to go and collect water. So, yeah, don't depend on anybody helping you out, because it is not going to happen. If you lose your water, you have got to look after yourself. And something else I found, we're not using water for cooking because we are using what we've got canned up. So, of course, none of that really needs water. It's already cooked, it's in its jars. We've got rice there canned, we've got potatoes, we've got vegetables, we've got meat. So it's just a case of heating it all up and not having to worry about using the valuable drinking water to make food up. So it is, our drinking water is just drinking and drinking only. So yeah, you need to have that water supply in your house. You need to have a rainwater collection system set up. If we didn't have rainwater collection, we'd be really, really stuck. You need to have meals on hand that don't need added water to them. You need to have lots of baby wipes and, other ways of keeping clean. You need to have a way of heating up large quantities of hot water. Until you're in this situation, you don't realise how much hot water you're actually going to go through, or even how much water you're going to go through in a day. For flushing the toilet, we're going through about 30 litres a day. We can actually be a bit extravagant with that, and we have got a compost loo if we need to. We have got the compost loo there. And as I say, not cooking, but drinking, we're going through 1.5 litres a day, but we have got other drinks here. I've got flavoured water that I drink a fair amount of, so it's just for teas and coffees and things like that. And of course, being winter, we're not drinking a vast amount. So, and then, let me see, there's probably about 20 litres a day I'm heating up on the stove, which I'm using as hot water for washing dishes, etc. Not able to get any clothes washed. Martin is away at the moment, working. He'll be back tomorrow, hopefully around about tomorrow lunchtime. And if the water supply isn't back on, what we're going to do is we're going to use our electric water pump. We're going to pump up one of the IBC tanks, which are full of rainwater, and we're going to pump it up to refill the header tank upstairs. And it was only today I actually got a notification from the water board to say, sorry, you're without water. And, keep checking in and we'll get your supply restored as soon as possible. And the other thing I found, which I was sort of disappointed with, people who have got boreholes and spring water, etc., have not really been forthcoming and offering to help out those who are dependent on mains water supply. So that's just another thing to consider. So anyway, so it's just a quick video on my challenge this week of having to cope with no water, and it's just as well it's happened this week. If this had been last week when everything was frozen solid, we would be up the creek without a paddle. I don't know how we'd have coped, I really don't, because we wouldn't have had the water supply to get to the animals. So it's been a challenging month so far, December. We've had a week of no phone and internet, and then we had the big freeze, and now we've got the big thaw with no water. And it's Christmas in a couple of days. And I just hope that all them families who are struggling, have got their water supply on by then. And something else I noticed on the group, quite a few people have been saying their families are coming down with tummy bugs, and I guess that's because they're not boiling the water up. And it's, of course, upsetting tummies, especially in children. And that's the last thing you want, really, when there isn't any water, is rationed, and you've got sickness and diarrhea in the family. So, anyway, that's mine for this week. Onwards and upwards. I'm now going to go and get my hair washed in the kitchen sink, which I haven't done for many, many years, but there we go. I'm going to, get that washed so I can sit in front of the fire and get it dried, Well, I'm going to go down and shut the chickens and that first, so I can come in, get my hair washed, sit down, have something to eat, and see what the rest of the month holds for us. Hopefully, nothing. And I'm hoping at some point later on tonight, maybe tomorrow morning, our water supply will be back to normal. So take care, everybody, and I'll catch up with you again soon.